Okay, good afternoon, all of you. This is Manoranjan Kumar, an assistant professor in agriculture department of Suresh Gyan Vihar University. So today in this video lecture, we will discuss about the types of sprinkler irrigation system. In the last class, we have seen in the last few class we have seen the what is the micro irrigation system and what are its types. We have seen under the micro irrigation system, the sprinkler irrigation system, the drip irrigation system, the bubbler irrigation system. So after that, we have seen the sprinkler irrigation system in detail, like its advantage and disadvantage, and also we have seen the different component how the sprinkler irrigation system performs. So we have seen the different component and what are their functions of this sprinkler irrigation system. Now, in this video lecture, we will discuss about the different types of a sprinkler irrigation system which are used in. So at the end of this lecture, the students will able to know the sprinkler irrigation types, the different types, and what are the functions and what are the use of each type of this sprinkler irrigation system in the agricultural field. For this topic, the students can refer this book, the A.M. Michael, A.M. Michael Irrigation Theory and Practice, uh, mm, or the second book is Keller Jack and Blatchner Roundy, Sprinkler and Trickle Irrigation, or the students can refer the Efficient Use of Irrigation Water, written by G.H. Sankara Reddy and T. Jellamanda Reddy. Okay. So these are the some reference books the students can refer. Now let us start the topic, the types of a sprinkler irrigation system. A sprinkler irrigation system means it is a one type of micro irrigation system which deliver the water to the crop in the form of rainfall. Okay, so on the in the form of rainfall or in the form of a spray. Okay, so depending upon the spray pattern, the sprinkler system is classified, and also we have seen the sprinkler irrigation system has many components. Okay, some components is heavy, some components is permanent, some component is portable. Okay, so depending upon the portability, the sprinkler irrigation system is also classified into different types. So depending upon the spray pattern, the sprinkler irrigation system is classified into mainly two types. One is the rotating head or revolving sprinkler system, or the second type, which is based on the spray pattern, is perforated pipe system. Okay. Now the second classification based on the portability, the different types of sprinkler systems are the portable system, in which you can transport all the components of a sprinkler irrigation system. Semi-portable system, in which some component is fixed and some component portable. Semi-permanent system, which is similar to the semi-portable system. Permanent system, in which all the components are fixed, not any component is portable. Solid state system, okay, and state move irrigation system. So these are the types of a sprinkler irrigation system based on the portability. Okay. Now, the first classification, which is based on the spray pattern, the first type is rotating head or revolving sprinkler system. Okay, in this picture, you can see this is the rotating head. Head means a sprinkler head. A sprinkler head will be rotating in nature. Here you can see this one. So here in the rotating head or revolving sprinkler system, the small size nozzles are placed on riser pipes fixed at uniform interval along the length of the lateral pipe. And the lateral pipes are usually laid on the ground surface. They may also be mounted on posts above the crop height and rotated through 90-degree angle to irrigate a rectangular strip. So this is the rotating head sprinkler irrigation system. Now, second is the perforated pipe system. In the perforated pipe system, here in this picture you can see these are the uh, perforated pipe system. This is the actual picture and this is the you can see this is the pipe, lateral pipes. On that lateral pipes, different perforations are made, and through that perforation, water emits continuously in the form of a spray. So this is the perforated pipe system. Okay. So this method consists of drilled holes or nozzles along their length through which water is sprayed under pressure. Okay. So this system is usually designed for relatively low pressure. Generally, this pressure is ranges from 1 kg. The application rate of sprinkler system is 1.25 mm to 50 mm per hour for various pressure and spacing. Okay. Now the classification based on the portability. So on the basis of portability, the first type of the this system is portable system. So what is the portable system? In the portable system, the sprinkler irrigation system consists of the main line, sub main, lateral. On the lateral, riser will be there. On the riser, there will be a sprinkler head, and also pumping unit will be there. Okay, pumping unit is must because pump will give the pressure to the water to flow into the field in the flow through the network of pipes. Okay. So portable system. A portable system has portable mainline, portable submain, portable lateral, or portable pumping unit. Okay, here all the components are portable. The entire system can be moved from one field to the other field. Okay, so if the component is able to move from one field to other field, then obviously the labor will be required more. So the labor requirement is high in the case of portable system. But initial investment in this type of system is less in comparison to the other system. So this is the portable system. Now the second is the semi-portable system. So in the semi-portable system, the semi-portable system is similar to a portable system, but difference is that the location of water source and the pumping plant is fixed in the semi-portable system. In the semi-portable system, the water source will be fixed and pumping plant will be fixed. In pumping plant was not fixed in the portable, but in this case, pumping plant is fixed, and other component will be portable. Okay, so this is the difference between portable and semi-portable. In the portable, all things is portable, but in the semi-portable, all things is portable except the pumping plant. Pumping plant is fixed. Other components are moved from one field to other field. Such a system may be used for more than one field where there is an extended main line, but may not be used for more than one farm unless there are additional pumping units. The third system is semi-permanent system. So the semi-permanent system has portable lateral line, permanent main line, sub-main line, and a stationary water source with pumping unit. Okay. Semi-permanent system. In the semi-permanent system, only lateral lines will be portable. All other parts are fixed. Okay. The pumping unit will be fixed. After the pumping unit, main line will be fixed. Sub-main will be fixed. Okay. But lateral lines will be portable. The main line or sub-main are usually buried under the ground. Okay. The riser are located for mutual connection at suitable interval to connect with lateral. Okay, so this is the semi-permanent system. The fourth one is permanent system. So in the permanent name is permanent means all things, all component will be fixed. So in the same permanent system, a permanent system has buried mainline, submain, and lateral with a stationary pumping plant or water sources. The sprinkler nozzles are permanently located on each riser. Okay, so such systems are expensive. However, these are suitable for automation, and also in the permanent system, labor requirement will be less in comparison to the other system. Okay, because here all the components are fixed, so obviously the labor requirement will be less. And the second advantage of this permanent system that it is very suitable for the automation because all things are permanent, so you can uh, automate this system very easily. Okay? And these permanent system are suitable for orchard. Okay? Solid state system. Solid state system. In the case of a solid state system, the movement of lateral is eliminated at least for one crop season. The laterals are positioned in the field before the crop season starts, and it will be kept there for the whole crop season. उसके बीच में हमें we should not remove or we should not transport or that lateral from other field. Okay, as the crop season starts, it will lie on the field and it will be there for the whole crop season. The system is beneficial when frequent moving of the lateral is not required. Now the other system is set move irrigation system. So set move sprinkler irrigation system are moved from one set position to another set position, uh, and this work can be accomplished with the help of the hand or you can do by through the mechanically. Okay, so set move system remains stationary when water is applied to the field. When the desired amount of water has been applied, the water is shut off and the sprinkler laterals are drained off and the system is moved to the next set position. Okay, so when water is applied, the system will remain stationary. But when the desired amount of water is applied, then water is shut off, and after the shutting of the water, the sprinkler laterals are drained off, and the system is moved to the next set position. So when the move is complete, the water is turned on again, and irrigation resumed at the new set position. Okay, so in this way, the irrigation has been done through this set move irrigation system. So this sequence is repeated until the entire field has been irrigated. Okay, so set move system commonly have a single main line led through the center of the field with one or more lateral on each side of the main line. So this is a set move irrigation system. Now this set move irrigation system is of three types. One is hand move system, second one is the toe move system, and third one is a side roll system. So first is the hand move system. In hand move system, the laterals are moved by uncoupling, picking up and carrying section of lateral pipe by hand to the next set position where the lateral sections are reconnected. Okay, so in the hand move system, the components are moved through the hand. Now toe move system. The toe move sprinkler system are the least expensive type of mechanically moved set move system. Each section of a toe move lateral has a skids or wheels so that the entire lateral can be pulled to the next set position. So usually a tractor is hooked to the main line end of the lateral and the lateral is dragged in the other direction across the main line in an opposite S-shaped curve. Okay, so this is the toe move. And the third one is the side roll system. Here some wheels are fitted. Okay, so a side roll or wheel move system like the one is an extremely popular type of mechanically moved state move system. So each section of pipe in a side roll lateral has a wheel with the pipe serving as the axle of the wheel. Okay. So a gasoline engine and transmission with a reverse gear at the center or the end of the lateral supply the power needed to roll the laterals, which may be as long as 800 meters from one set position to the next set position. So in this case, the lateral is commonly 100 or 125 mm in diameter, 4 to 5 inch. Okay, so this is the side roll system. Here in this picture, you can see this is the side roll sprinkler irrigation system. Okay, here some wheels are fitted on this lateral. Okay, so if during the movement, during the transportation from one set position to the other set position, this wheel is rotated to hand or through some uh, some power like some tractor. You can rotate this. You can pull this wheel to further. So this is the side roll sprinkler irrigation system. Now the other type of sprinkler irrigation system is gun type. Okay. This sprinkler system is also known as a rain gun type of a sprinkler irrigation system. So the set move system consists of a large volume, big gun type, large volume of sprinkler mounted on this wheeled cart or trailer that is moved from set to set with a tractor or by hand. So the sprinkler with capacities as large as 4700 liter per minute, weighted diameter of as much as 180 meter, and a recommended operating pressure range of 480 to 896 kilopascal are commonly used. Okay. So these systems are sometimes used for waste water disposal. So this is the rain gun type of sprinkler irrigation system. Okay. So these are the classification based on the portability. Okay. So let us summarize all these things. So in this lecture, we have seen the different types of sprinkler irrigation system. The sprinkler irrigation system is classified based on the spray pattern as well as the sprinkler system is classified based on the portability. On the basis of a spray pattern, the different types of a sprinkler system are there, like rotating head or revolving sprinkler system, and other one is the perforated pipe system. On the basis of portability, the system is classified on 6 types. First one is the portable system, other one is the semi-portable system. Other one is the semi-permanent system, permanent system, solid set system, and set move irrigation system. So this is all about uh, these types of irrigation system. Now you can solve this question. The question is the enlist the different types of a sprinkler system and describe one by one. Okay, so this will be an assignment, and also you can explain suitability of different types of a sprinkler irrigation system in different field. Okay, so these are 2 questions. You have to solve these 2 questions, write down in your copy as an assignment. So this is all about for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss about the design of this sprinkler irrigation system. So till now, we have seen the sprinkler irrigation system. We have seen the component of a sprinkler irrigation system, and also we have seen the different types of a sprinkler irrigation system. So now in the next lecture, we will see how the sprinkler system is designed for a particular field, and what are the different parameters which we have to consider in this case. Okay, so this is all about the today's lecture. Thank you. 2 form of water. Okay, first is the liquid form, and second one is the solid form. So liquid as the flowing water. Due to the flowing water, the soil particle will detach from its place. So that is the soil erosion, and the other form is the solid as a glacier. So due to this glacier also, the soil erosion will takes place. Okay, so mainly the soil erosion will takes place by its 2 forms: liquid as the flowing water and the solid as the glacier. Now the factor. What are the different factors which affect the water erosion? So water erosion is due to the dispersive and transporting power of the water. First, soil particles are detached from the soil surface by the raindrop force, and then that soil particle is transported with surface runoff. Okay, and after transporting, that soil particle will deposit at some other places. So this is the some mechanics of the soil erosion due to the water. So there is a direct relationship between the soil loss and surface runoff volume. Okay, the water erosion process is influenced by climate. Okay, and under the climate like rainfall, temperature, wind, this affects the soil erosion process. Topography, okay, and different types of the soil, and also the vegetative cover. So these are the some factors which affect the water erosion process. Okay. So now we will see one by one all these factors. First one is climate. So under the climatic factors, what are the different parameters which included? So first is the rainfall, second temperature and wind. Okay. So rainfall. As the volume and intensity of rainfall increases, the ability of water to detach and transport soil particle increases. When storms means heavy rainfall. So when storms are frequent, intense, and of long duration, the potential of erosion of bare soil is high. Bare soil means the soil which has no any vegetation on it. That is known as the bare soil. So if the intensity of rainfall is more or volume of rainfall is more, then soil erosion will be more on the bare soil. Okay. Now the temperature. Temperature also affect the soil erosion process because the frozen soils are relatively erosion resistant. If the soil is frozen, then that soil will not detach from its place very easily. Okay. So, however, bare soil with high moisture content are subject to uplift by freezing action and are usually easily eroded upon thawing. So, this is the temperature effect on the water erosion. Now, third parameters under the climatic factor is the wind. Okay. So, wind wind contribute to the drying of the soil. You know, if the moisture present in the soil, then that soil is less susceptible to the erosion. But when the soil will dry, then in that condition, that soil will more susceptible to the erosion. Okay. So what wind do? Wind dry the soil. If wind is flowing with high velocity, then soil will dry. And if the soil will dry, then that soil particle will detach very easily due to the water. Okay. So the wind contributes to the drying of the soil and increase the need for irrigation for new planting and for applying wind erosion control practice. So these are the three parameters in the climatic factor: rainfall, temperature, and wind. All these three parameters affect the soil erosion process by the water. Okay. Now, second is soil characteristics. Soil characteristics means the types of mainly three types of soil: sandy soil, silty soil, and clay soil. Okay, so out of these three, the soil containing high percentage of sand and silt are the most susceptible to detachment. Okay, why? Because they lack inherent cohesive characteristics within it. Whereas in the clay soil, there is a heavy cohesive characteristic. Cohesive force is more in the clay soil. So clay soil is less susceptible to the erosion. Okay, whereas the sandy soil and silty soil are most susceptible to the erosion. However, in case of the sandy soil, there is the if the high infiltration rate of the sand either prevent or delay the runoff. But silty soil, this type of case doesn't happen. Okay. So clay and organic matter content of the soil increases, the erodibility decreases. Okay. In the soil, if the clay percentage is more, then uh, erodibility of that soil will decrease. And also, if the organic matter content of the soil is more, then erodibility of the soil will decrease. Erodibility means the ability of the soil particle to be detached. That is known as the erodibility. Now, third is vegetation cover. So this vegetation cover also affects the soil erosion process. So what happens when the vegetation, if there is vegetation on the soil surface, then vegetation create a surface obstruction for direct falling of a raindrop on the land surface, as well as in the flowing path of surface runoff. Okay. So when there will be rainfall, then the velocity of that rainfall will decrease, and that rainfall will not uh, have so much of energy to cause the detach of the soil particle. Okay. So that is the vegetation cover. So a good vegetative cover completely negate the effect of rainfall on soil erosion. So if there is a good vegetation on the soil surface, then there will be less water erosion. And if there is a bare soil, no vegetation, then there will be more soil erosion. Now, the fourth factor which affects the soil erosion is topographic effect. So, the main topographic factors which influence the soil erosion are land slope, length of slope, and shape of the slope. So, as the slope increases, the surface runoff also increases, thereby decreasing the soil stability. The base of a slope is more susceptible to erosion than the top. On the top, less soil erosion will take place, but at the base of the slope, more soil erosion will take place. Because runoff has more momentum and is more concentrated as it approaches to the base of the slope. The slope may be convex or maybe the concave. So on convex slope, the soil erosion phenomena is magnified, whereas on concave slope, this phenomena is reduced. It is because in convex slope, the stiffness increases towards the bottom, while it is flattened towards the bottom in case of concave slope. So this topographic effect, topography of the surface also affect the soil erosion process. Okay. So these are the factors which affect the water erosion. Climatic factor, soil characteristics, vegetation cover, topographic factor. Okay. So these are the factors which affect the soil erosion. Now the second topic is types of the water erosion. So water erosion types. Water erosion can be classified into different types. Those types are splash erosion, sheet erosion, reel erosion, gully erosion, stream bank erosion, seashore erosion, and landslide erosion. Okay. So these are the types of water erosion. Now we will see one by one. First is a splash erosion. Here in the picture, you can see the soil is detached from its place due to the raindrop, due to the impact of the raindrop, and that soil particle is transported and deposited at some other places. Okay. So this splash erosion is also known as raindrop erosion because it is caused by the impact of a raindrop on exposed soil surface. Okay. So when a raindrop strikes an open soil surface, it forms a crater. Crater means just like a depression type of structure will form like this way. When the raindrop strikes on the soil open surface, then this depression type of structure is formed. That is known as the crater. So when this strikes on the open soil surface, it forms a crater and bounces the water and soil up and return back around the crater. The soil may be splashed into the air up to the height of 50 to 75 centimeters, depending upon the size of the raindrop. At the same time, the soil particle also move horizontally as much as 1.5 meter on level land surface. Okay. So in the vertically, it can go up to the 50 to 75 centimeter. It can move up to the 1.5 meter land. Okay. On the sloping land, more than half of the splashed particles moves down with the runoff. Okay, so this is the splash erosion. This splash erosion is caused by the impact of a raindrop. Okay. Now, second type of erosion is sheet erosion. Okay. These all are the types of the water erosion, not the soil erosion. These all are types of water erosion. So second type is sheet erosion. So the name is sheet. So here the soil will move in the form of sheet like this way. So here uniform removal of soil in the form of a thin layer or in sheet form by the flowing water from a given width of sloping land. That is known as a sheet erosion. So in the sheet erosion, two basic erosion processes are involved. First process is the one in which the soil particles are detached from the soil surface by falling of the raindrop. Okay, and in the second process, the detached soil particles are transported away by surface runoff from the original place. Okay, so there are mainly two processes. In the first process, the soil particle will detach from its place, and in the second process, that soil particle along with the water, it will flow in the form of the sheet by surface runoff. So when the rate of rainfall exceeds the infiltration rate of the soil, the excess water tend to flow over the surface of sloping land. Okay. If the rate of infiltration is more, then no problem, no runoff will generate it. But when the rate of rainfall is more than the infiltration capacity of the soil, then in that condition, the excess water will flow over the surface of the soil. Okay. So that flowing water also detach the soil particle from the land surface and starts flowing in the form of thin layer over the surface. Okay. So the erosion during this process is called as sheet erosion. So the eroding and transporting power of sheet flow depends on the depth and velocity of the flowing water for a given size, shape, and density of the soil particle. So this is the sheet erosion. Here the soil as well as the water, excess water will flow in the form of sheet. Now the real erosion. So real erosion, this type of water erosion is formed in the cultivated field where the land surface is almost irregular, undulating. So this type of erosion generally takes place in the cultivated land where the surface is irregular. So as the rain starts, the water tend to accumulate in the surface depression and begins to flow following least resistant path. So during movement of water, large amount of soil particles are eroded from the side as well as from the bottom of the flow path, which are mixed in the flowing water. So this surface flow containing soil particle in suspension form moves ahead and forms micro channels and reels. Okay, so this is the reel erosion. Now, next type of erosion is gully erosion. Okay, so gully erosion in the previous slide we have seen the reel erosion. So if the reels are small in size, then that reels can be leveled by the tillage operation. But when reels get larger in size, if you didn't do any tillage operation in the field, then that reel will get its size larger. So when reels get larger in size and shape due to prolonged occurrence of flow through them and cannot be removed by tillage operation, they are called gullies. Okay. So when reels develop in the field, you should do the tillage operation. Otherwise, that reel will develop into the gully. So large gully and their network are called ravine. So this gully erosion is advanced and last stage of the water erosion. In other words, it is the advanced stage of the reel erosion. Some of the major causes of gully erosions are a stiffness of land slope. If more steep land is, the more gully will form. Soil texture, rainfall intensity, land mismanagement, incorrect agricultural practices. So these are some causes of this gully erosion. Now, a stream bank erosion. So, a stream bank erosion is defined as the removal of a stream bank soil by water either flowing over the sides of the stream or scouring from there. So, stream bank erosion is mainly aggravated due to the removal of vegetation, overgrazing, or cultivation on the area close to the stream banks. A stream bank erosion is also caused by the occurrence of flood in the stream. The stream bank erosion due to a stream flow in the form of scouring and undercutting of the soil below the water surface caused by wave action is a continuous process in perennial streams. Okay. So this is the stream bank erosion. Now sea shore erosion. So this is also called the coastal erosion. Sea shore erosion is the wearing away of land and the removal of beach or dune sediments by wave action, tidal currents, wave current, or drainage. So wave generated by storms, wind, or fast-moving motor craft cause coastal erosion, which may take the form of long-term losses of sediment and rocks, or merely the temporary redistribution of the coastal sediments. It may be caused by hydraulic action, abrasion action, impact, and corrosion. So this is the seashore erosion. Now the landslide erosion. So when the landslide will take place, or when gravity combines with heavy rain or earthquake, whole slope can slump, slip, or slide. Okay. So in that situation, the landslide will occur. So slips occur when the soil, topsoil and subsoil on slope become saturated. So the unless held by plant roots to the underlying surface, it slides downhill, exposing the underlying material. So these are some types of the soil erosion, water erosion, splash erosion, peat erosion, reel erosion, gully erosion, stream bank erosion, seashore erosion, and landslide erosion. Okay. A splash erosion means due to the impact of the raindrop. Sheet erosion means soil will flow, soil along with the water will flow in the form of the sheet form. In the reel erosion, this reel erosion mainly takes place on the cultivated area. Okay, so when reel is developed, then you have to do the tillage operation. If you don't do tillage operation in the field, then that reel will develop into the gully. Gully is a very dangerous erosion. So gully, after the reel erosion, there is a gully erosion. Okay. After that, a stream bank erosion. near the bank of rivers or any water bearing a strata. That soil along the bank of the river will erode it. That is known as the stream bank erosion. Sea shore erosion near the sea and landslide erosion. So these are some types of the water erosion. Now, on the basis of this, there is some quiz related to this. So first question is blank is also known as raindrop erosion because it is caused by the impact of raindrops on exposed soil surface. So what will be the correct answer here? A splash erosion, the first type, a splash erosion. Second, uniform removal of soil in the form of a thin layer or in sheet form by the flowing water from a given width of the sloping line is called which type of erosion? Here, uniform removal of the soil in the form of thin layer or in the sheet. So this is the sheet erosion. Now third, blank erosion is formed in the cultivated field where the land surface is almost irregular. So in this type of area, which type of water erosion will be there? Real erosion. Okay, this is the splash erosion. This is the splash erosion. Erosion. Second is the uniform removal soil the form of thin layer. This is the sheet erosion. Sheet erosion. And this is third one. Erosion is formed in the cultivated field. So in the cultivated field, which type of erosion takes place? Real erosion. Fourth is it is the advanced stage of the real erosion. After the real erosion, which erosion will take place? Gully erosion. Okay. Gully erosion. Fifth question is when reels get larger in size and shape due to prolonged occurrence of flow through them and cannot be removed by tillage operation, they are called gully erosion. Okay. Large gully and their network are known as that is known as the ravine. Seventh is removal of a stream bank soil. Removal of a stream bank soil by water either flowing over the side of the stream or scurrying from there is called a stream bank erosion. Stream bank erosion. So these are some quiz related to this.